Hello, 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 everybody. It's been a while since I've done an update video, especially one where I haven't kind of thought about what it is I want to say before I kind of come on and do it. I've been, especially with the Lionel Richie stuff, which is no longer Lionel Richie. It's still Project LRK. Things are still moving forward, but it's no longer Lionel Richie. I'll do a more detailed update on that project tomorrow. There's a meeting tomorrow to kind of decide what the final form is that I need to work towards for December. I know what I want to do with it, but I'm not the only person involved now, so I kind of have to make my case and see if I can make it go that way. And that's kind of where all of my efforts are going at the moment. But I just kind of wanted to sit down and do probably a rambly update video. Just kind of let people know where I am, what's going on, and all kind of other stuff. So I guess I'll start with what I've abandoned. What I abandoned. That doesn't sound right, but I think it does make sense. Annabelle 2. Annabelle 2, I have decided not to finish. I kind of got the book to the state where it's kind of the story was done. Because I was trying to take what was going to be a much longer story and kind of condense it down. And it doesn't work. It doesn't flow. And I think the core idea is still good. And I think it's something I definitely want to circle back to. But for now, that project is done. Like I say, it wasn't coming together. It wasn't going to work. And it probably needs like another 6 months like dedicated work to try and pull that one together. And I just don't have the time for that right now. So yeah, that project is definitely, I would say paused, but I think cancelled is probably more appropriate word for where that project is. Like I said, I don't know if I'll ever go back to it. I will definitely be picking parts from it to put into future projects. In fact, one of the characters from Duplicate Prince and Annabelle 2 is now in Project LRK. I've just kind of ripped them out of that and I've put them into this other project. So, none of this stuff is wasted, at least on my side. But yes, it wasn't going to come together. It wasn't going to be a good time. And I may go back at some point and try and do a better ending to Duplicate Prince, just to kind of wrap that up a little bit better. That is meant to lead into Annabelle 2, and Annabelle 2 is probably not going to happen. So I may do a kind of edited, extended version of Duplicate Prince at some time, but that's going to be down the line. Realistically, we're looking at next year now. Because, like I said, Project LRK has taken up a lot of my time. It's going to take up even more of my time. Once we hit July, like July, August, September is going to be when I'm really going to have to chug along with that. And hopefully I will have the time to chug along with that. That's kind of one of the other things we kind of need to talk about. So let's kind of just jump straight to it, I guess. So on the Twitch, on the streaming side, I do also stream to YouTube as well on this channel, in fact. I don't really know what it is I want to do with stream going forward. I was planning on doing a Satisfactory month. I loaded up 1.2. It's great. It's satisfactory. They've improved some things, but I'll be honest, I wasn't feeling it. And I feel like Satisfactory is one of those games where you really have to want to play it to kind of play it. And yeah, I was not feeling it whatsoever. So not saying it won't come back at any point. I mean, it probably will. It's one of those games I will get the urge, the itch to play it again, and I will try and complete it. But coming back from 1.2 has not done it for me, unfortunately. So I don't think Satisfactory is going to be something we're going to be seeing a lot of, honestly. I am finally going to start Claire Obscure or Expedition 33. I think I just call it Expedition 33. I've owned it for a while, but I haven't started it. I think I'm going to kick that off next week. See how I take to that. The only slightly negative thing I've ever heard about that game is that the combat is either you like it or you don't. It seems to be like a Marmite situation. So hopefully I can put up with the combat and we can have a good time with that and have a little bit of fun. But other than that, I really don't know what I want to do with streams going forward. I know I want to keep on doing them, but I don't know what I want to do with them. I don't know kind of which angle I kind of want to pivot them towards, and kind of what I want to get out of them, and what people want out of them, really. I don't want to stop playing games 100%. And when we've got a good game, I want to be able to kind of play it and really enjoy it. But I do need to get a lot of stuff done at the moment. Some of it I could stream. Some of it obviously I can. Like Project LRK, I'm trying to share as much as I can, and I'm kind of working within the boundaries of what other people want me to share, and kind of where I know I need to kind of do the limits. I'm testing it now on Patreon with some paid posts. I've kind of put the kind of rough idea for the first scene, and then a kind of rough first draft of the first scene in kind of like movie script format. Although I don't think Patreon accepts the Fountain syntax, the Fountain Markdown kind of syntax, so it hasn't formatted it properly. But that's just one of those things. I think there's enough context there for people to kind of read it and see where we're going. And what I kind of want to do with Project LRK is kind of show that kind of evolution of certain parts of the process. It is a mystery, so I can't reveal everything. I can't do the full story, but I can definitely develop characters on stream and on Patreon and answer those kind of questions and stuff like that. So there'll be some stuff we can do for Project LRK. The other thing is I got a lot of stuff that I kind of need to do around it's my dad's property. It's not mine. Around my dad's property at the moment. And I would like to be able to stream out and about, but that involves money and upgrading my kit and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know how likely it is we're going to do those kind of streams. I'm kind of doing a very subtle, quiet fundraising at the moment over on Twitch. I'm not pushing it. I'm not the kind of person who kind of forcibly pushes for money, just kind of. But it is out there, and basically, every £100 we raise, we unlock another goal. We unlock another special stream. So we've unlocked a smoking stream already, and I'm going to write and perform a 20-minute stand-up comedy bit at some point in the future. Those have both been unlocked, so that's something we can look forward to, or not. Special streams going forward. I think the next 100 we unlock is a karaoke stream where I'll make a complete fool out of myself and sing some songs. Wait, no, I'm making a fool out of myself by singing songs. No, probably will be both. I can make a fool out of myself twice. It's fine. We can make it work. And then beyond that, honestly, I can't remember what it unlocks. I think if we make it to the 500-600, that's kind of where the outdoor streams can start unlocking, because it means I can afford to buy the kind of heart of the mobile streaming setup, which is going to be some kind of cheap laptop. I'm looking at the MacBook Neo at the moment, because that seems to be incredibly capable for what I would want it to do. And then kind of the higher we get, the more things we unlock, the more kind of out and about things we unlock. So I've got a tractor that I need to do up. It'd be nice to stream at least some of that. I need to learn how to weld. It'd be nice to stream some of that. And then doing up the garage as well. I kind of want to. I've scaled back the scope of that project. But I do still have things I want to do there. So it's a garage. There's a large door for which you can get cars in and out from. That was a good English sentence right there. We're going to block that up. Just simple wooden wall. Got to make it waterproof. Got to insulate it. But yeah, we're going to seal that up. And then I may do a false floor, just because there's an awkward bit of granite in the garage side. So doing a false floor over that. And then I'm hoping I can get away with not doing a lot else in there, because I need the room. Other stream ideas I want to do, I literally cannot do, because I do not physically have the space at the moment. My whole life is shoved into one fairly sizable shed, but it's not big enough to do everything I want to do. So I would love to get the office out of here and into a more bespoke office space, which is kind of what the garage is meant to be. And we'll get the stapler and all the other stuff that we get from Office Space, TPS reports or whatever it was. And then once that's done and I'm in there and I've got the office in, then possibly do some more on the shed side, or possibly not. Honestly, right now it's just trying to make it a little bit more office space so I can, again, as I'm kind of trying to things that different things that I want to stream, I kind of want to be able to test things out and do different things. And I just kind of need the space. But we shall see. The main problem streaming wise at the moment is there's not a lot of games I'm really interested in playing. So we just end up playing Overwatch. And I don't mind Overwatch, but it's a difficult game for me to just keep on streaming again and again and again and again. And I just kind of don't want to. I do kind of want to be able to play around and play different things and do different things on stream. But, it all comes down to, at the moment, I'm trying to live incredibly cheaply. So I got the time to do Project LRK. And, hopefully the streaming stuff can kind of keep the money coming in until I can start making money from that side of things. I'll be 100% honest. The money coming in from stream is not good right now. That's probably a bit of an understatement, but so realistically, I don't know if past June I will be streaming as much. I may have to find something else to kind of pick up the slack, so I've got money coming in, so I can still do Project LRK stuff. But I honestly don't know what that would be, what that would look like. I'm still kind of fingers crossed, hoping that streaming will be enough to kind of keep that going as we're going through. Regardless of what happens, if I do have to stop streaming, whatever, with the kind of fundraising, whatever streams we unlock will definitely go ahead. It's not going to be that I'm going to leave people high and dry. If we hit a goal, we will do a stream for that goal. That does also include something that I owe people from many years ago, which is getting a tattoo. I will still do that at some point, regardless. But whether or not daily streams continue is as it has been all of this year, very much up in the air. I want them to continue. Like I say, I don't know what I want that to look like and kind of how I want to kind of pivot. I would like to do some kind of brainstorming work streams. I would like to do. We did a test of kind of writing a semi-interactive story, which I kind of enjoyed. It was rough around the edges. I knew it was going to be rough around the edges, but I did kind of enjoy the process. I think I took too long to get where I wanted to be. If that makes sense. Like, I think in 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, we got one section done. And in my mind, that should have taken about an hour. But that's going to come down to, was I just mad in how I thought how quickly I could get it done in my mind, or is that something I can kind of make tighter and make work? I would kind of like to do that kind of thing again. I would love to start. I don't even know where to begin with this idea, but I would love to start some kind of board game, story mode, something. I don't really know what to do there. Like, the idea that's kind of rumbling or rattling around my brain at the moment, as I'm kind of working on many other things, is a very simple, like, I think for the first one, what I quite like to do is not quite an Alien Isolation ripoff, but kind of that kind of idea. Survivors on a spaceship and kind of battling through to try and take control of the ship. And once we get control of the ship, we can kind of, branch out and go on other adventures. That's kind of what I'm thinking about that. The reason being, I kind of want there to be a constant story element. So yes, probably most of the stream is going to be doing kind of dice rolling, wargaming, battling type stuff. I don't know what rules I would be using. I think probably I would lean towards trying to adapt to the kind of Fallout rules, not the role playing rules, the kind of battle rules for Fallout, but there are other options available as well. And then kind of filling it with unique ideas. I mean, there's nothing unique in the world anymore. There's nothing unique in you, but things that would make sense for kind of Keiki-verse stuff. And then, kind of claustrophobic, almost horror kind of exploration round to begin with. But then once you've got the ship, we can upgrade the ship, we can upgrade our people. And, we're going to be constantly sending the same people into danger and hoping they survive and all that kind of stuff. So I would like to kick something like that off as well. I just don't know where to begin with that. And at the moment, like I keep on saying, Project LRK is my main focus. That's where, if I've got energy, it's going towards that at the moment. But even though July, August, September, there'll be more time dedicated to it, it's going to be easier, more structured time than the amount of kind of stuff I'm doing at the moment. So for Project LRK, we're still very much in the world building stage, and that takes a lot of effort. We're trying to, right now we don't know if we're going to be doing a kind of season-long mystery or if it's going to be a mystery of the week type show. With the recent Doctor Who not going forward news, I have a feeling they might push for the kind of story of the week type show to try and catch that kind of vibe, which I think is a kind of more fantasy vibe. There is a possibility there, and it wouldn't surprise me if tomorrow on that meeting, if they're kind of hinting they want to go that way, but we'll see. I'm still kind of hoping I could do something a little bit longer, or maybe we'll be able to find some kind of compromise where it's kind of like it's a story of the week, but somehow they're all going to link together for a kind of grand reveal towards the end. But yeah, we're working on that. I've got the characters, the kind of detective crew, more or less down. So just briefly, like I said, I'll go into more details on an LRK update video, but just briefly, there is a wizard. Magic is easy but complicated in Project LRK, and people who can use magic and kind of magical abilities, like magic is seen more as like a nuclear weapon kind of thing, even though it exists and almost everybody can interact with magic in some way or another. People who can really wield it to become wizards are treated as basically nuclear weapons. Like they have a lot of power, and there's not a lot that the world can do to stand against them. There are things they can do. And kind of magic is like this kind of thing that is tolerated, respected, feared, but not accepted. And it all comes with a kind of a hint of madness. I don't think I can go into too much more detail about how magic is going to work. The one thing that I can't sell at the moment is why this wizard, who is a wizard, he's got magic, he can use magic, and he's considered quite a powerful wizard. What doesn't make sense in the story so far is why he is now kind of working as part of a detective squad to seek out other magic. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that he is involved right now. That's kind of one of the main things I'm still struggling with. But we kind of got this wizard. He's more considered like he's the magic sniffer. So he's not the detective. He is the kind of the magical guy. So he can kind of sniff it out. He's not the kind of law and order guy. He is a kind of justice guy. But yeah, he's not the detective. He's not the person who's going to kind of put this all together, if that makes sense. There is a detective character. The wizard and the detective go way back. But as we join them in Project LRK, their relationship is a little bit strained. And And the wizard is also kind of going through a kind of metamorphosis, if you like, because his wife of many years has just died during a operation of this team. And there's a little bit of uncertainty and resentment and other things that are kind of bubbling out of that. So one of the main stories we're exploring is this group. We're uncovering the mystery of what happened to the wife and why the group is where it is, as well as exploring a kind of a bigger mystery as well. And then possibly it's going to be cases of the week. So it's going to kind of be like the kind of past mystery, the future mystery, and the kind of mystery of the week that will all kind of be working together every single episode. It could get messy. It could get complicated. I kind of want it complicated, and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, the detective is very much based on just, great fictional detectives. They're an elf. They're very cold. They're very logical. They're basically a Vulcan, which are just elves in space. Very analytical, very law and order. And we are kind of there's a split between what is justice and what is like following the rule of law, which is kind of one of the bones of contention that's going through the group. So we've got them. We've got the kind of viewer avatar character. So that's kind of going to be the new guy who comes in. Obviously, we're making fantasy. It's fantasy crimes. There's fantasy rules. There's magic. There's all kind of things that we need to explain to the audience. It doesn't make sense for these people who've been doing this for a while to be explaining their jargon, right? It's like if you've ever started a new job and you've kind of got like everybody's been there for a while just talking nonsense at each other because they're using the jargon. They're using the language that they understand, and you're just kind of sat there going, I don't know what the hell they're saying, right? And it doesn't make any sense for them to explain it to themselves. But if there's a new guy involved who's kind of coming in and seeing all of this done, then it kind of makes sense when you kind of have to do the exposition and explain stuff to the audience. So that's kind of why they're there. And honestly, that's really the only reason that they are there. They're going to be, to begin with at least, the most boring character in the kind of setup. But they do kind of come into their own as we move along, assuming we can get that far. There's then at the moment I'm calling him the forensics guy. This is the character who's come over straight from Annabelle 2 and Duplicate Prince. So he is a guy who's always wanted to be able to control magic, can't, and so has kind of gone the more mechanical, steampunky, robot way of being able to do things that kind of magic can. But he's fascinated by magic. He's fascinated by everything magic. So when anything magical does happen, he is the one who kind of takes it apart and is kind of trying to work out how that works. Whereas the wizard kind of has an innate understanding of, I don't know. I honestly, I think that the world we're building, wizards probably do not understand how magic works. It just does. A wizard did it. It's kind of their kind of understanding of magic. Whereas the forensics guy is really getting down to the kind of nitty gritty of how magic works and what it's actually doing and trying to understand it on that level. And that's kind of that will also help solve crimes. And that's kind of like the main roster of the good guy side of the regular team that we'll be following. There's a few other characters on there. There's kind of like I don't know how best to describe them at the moment, but kind of like a messenger type, but more involved than that. A lot of their character is going to be there for comic relief. And there's also going to be a kind of a higher up, more director type level character. Although honestly, I don't know if that one's going to end up making it because I don't really see a point for them at this moment in time. And then it's kind of breaking down the villain. Obviously, like I said, I don't know yet if it's going to be one big mystery or if it's going to be a mystery of the week. So the kind of villain story is going to change depending on the outcome of that. So I haven't worked too much on that. But yes, I do think I've got the characters more or less sorted out of all kind of their flaws and drives and all that kind of stuff. So we can kind of put them into scenarios and see how they come out the other side. With the kind of setup that this is a team that, even though they've been together for a long time, they've lost a member, they're going through a lot, so they're not quite in their groove, and they may never find that groove before. So, they were the shit hot team. Maybe they're not quite the shit hot team anymore. And possibly there's a reason for that. Possibly. That's called teasing. But yeah, so that's kind of all my work, like all my spare time is going on that, because again, it's building everything. It's building how the magic system works. It's building the city that they're going to play around in. It's building the, not the main characters, but the kind of side characters who can kind of fill out the city, so crimes can happen. It's sorting out the kind of civil service and bureaucracy of why a situation would come to their attention. They're clearly not going to be the only crime fighters. It's building up the people who are going to absolutely detest magic and who's on the other side of that. So it's kind of, we're building all of that stuff. We're kind of building the lore book up, and that's taking a lot of time and a lot of effort. And again, I'm not saying that the scripts aren't going to take time, because of course they are, but it's then a more simple is the wrong word, but a more simple structured, okay, I know I need to fill up. And again, I need to know if we're doing one big mystery, if we're doing Monster of the Week, before I can really crack on and do this and kind of break the stories. But it's then kind of getting down to, what are going to be the beats per episode, and then filling in the gaps, and then just, getting down and writing them. It's going to be in many ways easier, but more time consuming, if that makes sense. I don't know where I was going before I went on that kind of ramble. So yeah, so there's that. Sundays I stream with LP, which is always good fun, and then Sundays is my kind of other project today at the moment, which is Necromancer's Journey. I'm bringing Necromancer's Journey back. I'm going to dig out the original version, which a few people have already seen, and I am going to put that up on Patreon for free for anybody to grab and read as they want. And I am kind of working on those initial chapters again to kind of really try and make them pop. I still haven't decided. So when I started Necromancer's Journey, it actually started off being called Necromancer's Journal, but then that was something that already existed, so it became Necromancer's Journey. It was meant to be the diary of the Necromancer, so it's him very much in the future. I think the setup for the original one is that he is about to try and fix a mistake he made a long time ago, and he's kind of writing his journal, his memories down, because if he fails, somebody else may need to pick this up and try and fix this wrong. That setup is probably not going to survive. It's going to be the same kind of idea if I still do the journal approach. He probably is kind of, he has been caught and is waiting for sentencing or something, and so is either being forced or has decided to write his journal. Part of me is wondering if I don't do that. So basically with the journal approach, it's always from his point of view. So anything that happens when he's not physically around, he's not really going to know what happened. He may hear afterwards, and he may try and put the pieces together, but if he didn't see it, didn't hear about it, he didn't know it happened. Part of me still likes that approach. It's a nice writing approach. It's how I tend to write all of my early drafts, is kind of from that approach, from the character's point of view. But it is also kind of limiting, which may not be a bad thing, but it is kind of limiting. So it means you can't explore things from other characters' point of view, right? There are other characters involved, even in these early kind of Grimhold, early school years. But yeah, I can't like switch from the Necromancer to Fists or to Stumpy or all these other kind of characters who are there and kind of the plots against the necromancer if I stick to the journal approach. But I think I probably am going to stick to the journal approach. Like I said, I like it. I think it fits what I'm trying to hit with the necromancer's journey. But yeah, like I say, that is my Sunday project. I am still kind of hopeful that towards September, October, I might be able to get that out, at least in a rough first draft form, as a kind of full story. It will depend on, obviously, if streams can be enough to keep the walls from the door, keep the lights on, keep the coffee cup full, or if I have to go and do something else. And yeah, then just like how much time LRK is going to be taking on a daily basis, because at this moment in time, I do not know. But I am still working on that. I am still working on Cake Ball. At some point, I do need to get together again with LP so we can play Cake Ball again. I think we played the last time we played, I think we played the third version of the rules and the setup. I'm now on version 26 of the rules. I don't think we would jump straight from 3 to 26. We might, but there probably are some steps in between where I do want to kind of test things out, because I don't want to kind of change everything, because then I don't know of what changed, what is working, what is not. I do kind of want to do a more piecemeal approach, but in my mind, I've definitely got, and in written form, I've definitely got further ahead of where we are play testing wise. So I don't know when we'll pick that up. But probably not for a while, I wouldn't guess. Because again, it's one of those things that I'm gonna have to go back, set everything up, and then try and play through it. I do want to do it, but again, it's going to be finding the time for me and for LP to kind of get together and do that. But I haven't given up on Cake Ball. I like Cake Ball. I think it's definitely got potential. Yeah, the original driver behind Cake Ball, which was to kind of fill up the sports section of the Otherworld News. The Otherworld News is another project that for now is on hiatus. LRK has definitely taken over any kind of time and effort I had for that. So the kind of that initial kind of impetus for Cake Ball is no longer there. The kind of rush to get it over the line, but the game itself, I think is fun already, based on the version that LP and I played. It's got to be a couple of months now ago. I think that is already fun, and if we can just get the character development side and the ability side, so they're not all basically carbon copies of each other, sorted out, I honestly think there's something there. I think there's something good there on the Cake Ball side. So I don't want to see that one disappear completely. But again, it's all about finding time and what I can do. Cake Ball may be one of those things that I just start doing as I'm working on it. I might just stream myself working through it. Because I think that's going to be kind of one of the easier ones where I'm thinking out loud. It's a little bit more visual. The streaming yourself writing, I would love to do it, but I don't see how I can do it and make it interesting. The kind of more brainstorming, world building stuff and the more interactive stuff, fine, but the kind of, the kind of pure writing stuff, I don't know about. Doesn't mean I'm not going to try it. I think I probably will try it at some point. But yeah, I don't know how to make that seem appealing even to me, let alone anyone else. But yeah, I've probably waffled on for way longer than I should, and I've probably said nothing of value or merit. But yeah, that's kind of where we are. Like I say, I am doing a little bit of a fundraising thing on stream on Twitch. For anybody who feels like giving me a little bit of cash, it'd be great. If not, also great. No pressure. I'm not trying to pressure anybody into anything. It's just, I got ideas, things I want to do, and I need a little bit of help if I'm going to try and get them done. And that's kind of where I am on that side of thing. I am hoping to put a lot more stuff up on Patreon going forward, but again, I need to find out what it is I can and can't do with Project LRK. There'll be a lot more. Hopefully, there'll be a lot more Necromancer's Journey stuff going up there. And if I can do the more outdoor streaming stuff, doing up the tractors, doing up the shed, I'll probably honestly end up doing more video type stuff as well. I mean, if we make it to the ultimate goal of the fundraising, then yes, there'll be a lot more vloggy type content coming out on YouTube. But that's a pie in the sky type goal right there. So don't wait for that. Don't sit and wait for that. That's if things really start to pick up kind of thing. I almost got through this video without coughing. But yes, that is going to do it. Hopefully I said something of interest in this video. I honestly don't know. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all when I see you all. Bye for now.